This is Candidate Interview Night.
On URY.
Thank you to Rosie and Hassan there. Next up we have Catherine Batty interviewing Hector Macduff, who will also be running for the position of Union President.
Hector, you describe yourself as not the typical student to run for the role. What do you think the typical student candidate for this role is, and why are you different?
Well, I think the standard thing is the sort of torch gets passed from USU Insider to USU Insider. And when I say, I mean sort of either they're an ex-college chair or they've worked in USU before, which is great. And these are people who do care about the student body and stuff. And that's brilliant that they get involved. But it also makes them slightly detached from what just the average student does. And that's why most students aren't really that engaged or care about what USU does most of the time, I think.
You talk a lot about the average student. In your opinion, how would you describe an average student at the University of York?
Well, much like myself, I'd say, really. Someone who maybe does a few societies, who goes to their lectures, sometimes misses one, enjoys a night out, makes some mistakes on a night out, makes friends and memories whilst at university, just very bog standard stuff, I'm afraid.
One of the main policies that you've underlined in your manifesto is mental health. You said it was of paramount importance with the university's poor record of supporting students. What would you implement to improve this situation in this service that the university provides?
Well, I think a lot of the issue comes from the fact that it's a lot easier to hide than to confront. But when you actually look at the figures of what's going on, it's embarrassing, because I love this university and I think it's brilliant. But for some people, that is not their experience at all, and it is shameful. And for some people, this is even a matter of life and death. It wouldn't be hard to change just a few things, and it would mean the world to quite a lot of people, working with national charities, engaging with student groups, even maybe an anonymous online sort of counselling service to support students through these rough patches in their life.
Do you think past USU presidents have done enough in their roles in focusing on mental health, or do you think they should have done more and to improve the service that we provide?
Given the way the system is now, I would have to say no. Although I realise that sounds harsh, and I don't mean to be too critical of previous administrations. I'll say, but no. Ultimately, I think they have let students down, and not through lack of good intentions. And obviously, the pledge of £500,000 by the university is a brilliant win. But I think it's something you can't just win a battle and just stop the war. You know, it's got to be constant every day, because that's what it is for students.
Have you got any experience in this area that would help you to achieve some of these goals in terms of mental health?
Well, I myself have sort of struggled with some mental health, particularly during my second year. Sort of dropped off the map a little bit, and went through the university system, some of which was very helpful, others of which was actually, I think I'd describe as sort of humiliating. So that's something that I would very much like to change, because that's something no one should have to go through. And I recognise that even during my low point, I was so much better off than many other people who have to go through those things.
One of the other things you mentioned in your manifesto is campus improvements and making the university more accessible for everyone. Could you expand a little bit more on that?
Well, it's pretty simple stuff, really. Just about making the average student's life better. Things like the Vanbrugh Bridge that we've got here, going between Eric A and the Vanbrugh Canteen kind of thing. Making that bridge wider, because when you're walking across, there are always cyclists, even though you're meant to dismount, kind of thing, and it's weird traffic. Or even creating a wudu area, as I worked with some people from Islamic Society, which is a place where they can prepare to pray on Hez East, as opposed to having to travel back to Hez West every time before doing it, or even doing the ritual washing thing in the toilets, which, I don't know, if that was me, I would find that a little bit insulting.
What are your views on media censorship? Because free press is obviously a big issue at the minute. Would giving student media greater independence from USU limit their powers?
No, I don't believe so. I think the student media should be able to say whatever they want to say and should be supported by USU in that.
Let's talk about prees with Pres, which is a policy. You want to hold prees on campus from 9 to 11, alternating between Hes West and Hes East. How would you include students that don't drink alcohol in this?
Well, I think you could have mocktails. I think there's a lot of fun to be had without alcoholic events. It's more of the thing of just sort of, what if USU threw a house party and made university look like it does in the films? I think that would be a lot of fun.
University Radio York.
The only radio station broadcasting to the University of York.
U-R-Y.